The cast drama rumors aside, the movie has also faced backlash as some fans criticize the portrayal of an intimate partner violence. In both the book and the film adaptation, warning, spoilers ahead, the story revolves around Lily Bloom as she embarks on a romance with Ryle. However, over time, he becomes emotionally, sexually, and physically abusive towards Lily. Though they ultimately part ways in the end, she allows him to continue to co parent with their daughter. This has been a point of contention for most readers, and some question Lily's choice to keep Ryle around while others praise the realistic nature of the relationship. Hoover has candidly opened up about how watching her own parents' relationship influenced the story. One of my earliest memories was him throwing a TV at her. She told Today in 2023, we grew up in an abusive household up to that point. There was no resources for women to leave situations like that. She continued, adding her mother divorced her father when she was 2. She was able to get out of that relationship. And then from then on, I just remember growing up with a mother who was so strong and so independent. Hoover recalled that she would ask her mother all the time about how she was able to leave her father and ended up writing a book inspired by her mother's courage. What has the It Ends With Us cast said about the story? Both Lively and Baldoni have emphasized the importance of the film's subject material and how they hope it helps people who are victims of DV. I think what's really beautiful about this movie is I think that it is told with empathy, and that speaks to how Colleen wrote this book because she lays out such a clear emotional roadmap for Lily. Lively told people. Is that accurate?
In essence.
Okay. She said it. Lively told people of the source material, and Lily isn't just multifaceted and dynamic and has highs and lows and lights and darkness, but all the characters surrounding her do as well. They're not just one color. This will hold your empathy, she continued, of the film. Hindsight is 2020, right? So it's very easy to look back and see the red flags, but I think that it's more about giving yourself grace for not seeing things or seeing them and wanting to believe the best in a person, because a beautiful attribute um, to want to believe the best in a person, in people, but it can also get you into a really painful, traumatic situation. And sometimes you don't realize it. I think that it's about having empathy for yourself and then also knowing your strength and your value. Hopefully, seeing a film like this, and then having a story like this will remind people that there's a way out. There can always be a way out. A source told people that Baldoni has also been passionate about spreading the narrative. In every bit of press that he has done, he has placed an emphasis on the importance of spotlighting this issue and breaking the cycle of violence, the source said. Though this is Justin's biggest directing and acting role to date, this film has never been in the interest of self promotion. It has and will continue to be about the message with the goal of touching real lives and inspiring people to speak out against DV. Ultimately, it's about the survivors and hope. Now, will there be a sequel? Dun dun dun. Seeing that It Ends With Us has a follow up book, It Starts With Us, fans are curious to know if there will be a movie sequel, and from the original cast, will there be an appearance? Though the books are largely centered around Lily and Atlas, Ryle is still a central character. While Bodoni hasn't confirmed whether he'll return as one of the film stars, he has waited on whether he'll return as a director. You're going to have to ask me in a little while. We're going to have to take a vacation after this, Baldoni Kip at Entertainment Tonight. I think there are better people for that, he added. I think Blake Lively is ready to direct. That's what I think.
Yeah. Listen, to me, it does not look like he's going to be a part of the sequel, like in any way, shape, or
Yeah.
form. And I feel like they might try to do a sequel, and I think that if Blake is given the creative control, she's gonna find a way to remove him,
Mm-hmm.
despite him still being in It Starts With Us. And I think I think it's unfortunate because, again, this was going to be, or it seems like this was going to be a movie that was going to be a little bit different from other ones. It was actually going to really highlight this issue that we don't normally see in a mainstream movie. And it was frustrating at times watching it because it felt like it was I didn't feel like Blake was Lily Bloom. I felt like Blake was Blake with a
Mhm.
bad wig on.
I
Um
hate that stuff.
yeah. It
Hmm.
it it literally was just her with a bad wig and bad wardrobe. Like she was like that was atrocious. The wardrobe she had on at nearly 99% horrible. And I feel it took away from it because you're just looking at, oh, this is Blake Lively trying out some new fashion. Like that's what I kept thinking. I didn't see her as Lily. The young girl who played young Lily, I think she did a great job.
Hmm.
And I wish that, just like in the book, I wish they would have put more emphasis on that part. I feel like they kind of truncated the young version of Lily and Atlas
Hmm.
to focus more on the adults. And again, it was more about Blake.
Yeah.
Um and it just didn't feel right to me. Because it just didn't seem like what I read. And again, I know that things can be different from book to movie and all that, but for it to turn into like this is a Blake Lively situation, it was frustrating.
Uh-huh.
Like in the book, Lily Bloom is supposed to be this sort of like, yeah, she's a strong character and everything. But she's like creative with like her shop and all that, and everything that they had Blake doing, it just looked weird. They didn't flesh out the side characters, like Alyssa's character, for example, who's supposed to be Ryle's sister. She, played by Jenny Slate, I thought was terrible as well because I'm just like, what? Like, I didn't feel like there was any real chemistry there. The guy who plays Atlas, I think he did great. But I don't think that they did as great of a job as they could have done. And I think that Blake Lively was not the right person for this movie. And ultimately, if they do a sequel, it's just going to be a Blake Lively sequel. It's not going to be really like what you would want out of it. And I think that it's unfortunate because again, like it could have been something really good. It could have been something really, informative, or at the very least something that people who've been through DV maybe could have related to and just at least seen themselves, in a certain kind of way that you don't see on a mainstream movie. But that's not what happened. We got, uh Blake Lively by Deadpool kind of vibe. Like it was
Yeah.
weird. There's a lot of it that was just weird.
Well, as someone who hasn't seen the movie, hasn't read the books, only seen like the snippets on Instagram, it was already cringy to me.
Yeah.
But now that I know the premise and we've discussed a little bit about it, yeah, what Blake Lively is doing and all these different interviews, it has nothing to do with the book. And that is like us talking about it in a very superficial kind of way. It
Yeah.
has been about her fashion, like you said, the florals. I seen the young Lily with her. I seen Ryan Reynolds. There was like a an interview where she talked about Ryan Reynolds sending her flowers every week when they were dating, and
Mhm.
that he would write something that happened that week. And I'm like, how is that applicable? Like, how does that relate to the movie? I didn't, of course, I don't know the premise of the movie at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So the way she portrays it to be, it seemed like a happy-ish kind of movie to me. I thought it was going to be like a love triangle thing. I didn't know that there was like DV and thing, but they need to talk to the Barbie marketing team because this was a disaster. Barbie was so on point. Everything pink and everything Barbie, and that was great. But I don't understand how Blake Lively and her interviews and her wardrobe and everything that she's doing is really like deflecting from the actual movie.
Yeah. It is.
So yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. And I think it sucks for Justin Baldoni because if you follow him on Instagram, he's a very zen kind of guy, into his feelings. I
Right.
we could have imagined this movie being that much more deep.
Yeah.
But maybe the Blake Ryan interference, y'all got this,
Right.
which
And there's
sucks.
also a rumor that there was two cuts of the movie. Justin's cut scored better with the audience,
Mm,
but they went because of Colleen Hoover, the author. I think they went with Blake Lively's cut instead. So I don't know. I don't know how true that is, but
mhm.
if that is in fact true, again, yet another reason why I don't care to have anything else to do with Colleen Hoover. Like, hot mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, let us know in the comments. Did you read the book? Did you watch the movie? What do we think about this cast drama? Do we think that Justin Baldoni was bulldozed, like Dee said? What do we think about the Blake Lively show and the florals and her interviews and her deflecting the main narrative to her narrative?
Yeah.
Let us know what you think because I'm really interested. Now I was gonna say I want to read the book, but that'll be a lie. I will watch the movie.
You should. You should.
I will watch the movie
Yeah.
and let you know what I think. But that concludes today's episode. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Also, please share our video. We're trying to grow our community so your friends could be our friends, so we could all be friends. We also have social media, which they'll tell you about.
We're on TikTok and Instagram. Hear me out, DNE. So make sure you guys like, follow, share, and comment. You can also listen to the videos in podcast format via Spotify and YouTube Music.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.